All right, it's time for Mail Call Thursday.
I love it.
How much do you love it? I think I've asked you that before.
Yeah, I was lying. I don't really love it.
I didn't think so. I have to drag JP in here for this.
But we're going to get through it together, you know.
Oh, my name is Justin.
And I'm JP.
And we're the Podcasting Dead. Obviously, a podcast about The Walking Dead. But it's so much more than that now. In fact, we do still talk about The Walking Dead, but it's definitely not the focal point in the sense of, you know, if you don't watch The Walking Dead and you found this on the internet, stay tuned because we definitely talk about things not Walking Dead related. So, you know, I think Walking Dead fans and non-fans alike can get enjoyment from the podcast.
It's true.
We did a really cool Random Rambling Wednesday. If you didn't catch that yesterday, you should go check it out. It was pretty darn awesome. We had our buddy Matt Crowder in here talking about the song that he wrote about JP called Me and JP, which, of course, you can still get. It's available anywhere music's sold, and also as far as streaming, you can download it. It's also on YouTube. You can go listen to it if you want to. So.
Yep, Matt Crowder, Me and JP. Check it out.
And stay tuned to the end of the podcast. We'll give social media info if you want to follow us on our own social medias. But in the meantime, we're going to answer your questions from last week's mail call, and we'll scroll through other videos to see. First, I got to say, a round of applause. Clap, JP. Clap. Help me clap.
Who are we clapping for?
You. I got JP to go hiking with me this weekend.
Myself? Yeah, sure did.
It was a really good time. JP's just I don't want to say you're a homebody, but JP's like a town body. JP just doesn't really...
Well, you know, it's just, I don't know. I am sort of worrying I may be bordering on agoraphobia because I am getting really just all the stresses and pressures of the outside world and, you know, our new career path and all this kind of stuff. It gets... It's a lot to bear down on a man.
Yeah, you know? So I actually got him to go hiking with me this weekend. We went to Roanoke and went on one of their trails up in the mountains and got a nice overview of the city. And I think it was a really good time.
Yeah, I was gassed by the end of it, though. Whew.
Both in two different ways.
Yeah, I was super duper high as well as very tired.
JP was talking about it earlier. We promised we'd get to your questions, but JP had me cracking up earlier because if you look on, which I don't think I put all the pictures. I put like one on Instagram, but I need to find them. JP actually was wearing a Hulkamania bandana the whole time, and JP's like, I can imagine like if they smell weed when I come off the mountain, they're going to be like, well, it certainly was the guy wearing the Hulkamania banner. But
they always target the Hulkamaniacs.
But it was a really good time.
They do it.
I was very glad to have JP accompany me on one of my outings. So
it was a lot of fun.
We had a good time. Next time I get him out to do that, we'll make sure we Periscope or something.
We will.
I think JP was just so focused on breathing.
Yeah, trying not to keel over of cardiac arrest.
The whole trail, in my experience, for the trails that I do, because I pretty much go any free weekend I have this time of year, but it wasn't that bad. But I will say there was one hill on that trail that was just,
oh my God,
it was ridiculous, man. Like, and it never ended. It was just everything up to that point had been very moderate inclines and flat areas, and I was fine. And then we get to this hill, and I could look at it, and I was like, oh, this is going to suck. And then we get to the top, and I'm just like, Jesus, man, you got to take a break. And then there's an old man chilling at the top who I guess got there a little before we did. He's like, oh, yeah, I usually run up it. But we're like, you know what?
Yeah, I need a pack of mules to pull me up that thing. We ain't have no mules.
The heck with you, old man, and your healthiness. But, so let's get into it. Jovi Gal says, oh, JP, don't go getting all soft and squishy on me. That was when you said you would bring her as one of your dinner guests last week. Yeah. Although your lineup would make for an interesting time for sure. Justin, I have a memory of looking up at a giant banana in Australia. I told my mom one day, and she was shocked because I was only a couple of months old at the time, apparently. Question. This week is the second part of last week's question. Ideal dinner lineup within the Walking Dead universe, dead or alive. So what three people from the Walking Dead universe would you want to have dinner with? JP, let her rip.
Wow. Definitely Merle, because he's going to bring the good drugs. Definitely Maggie. Definitely Rosita, because Rosita's easy. And Maggie's not that easy.
Why is Rosita easy?
Because she's been sleeping around for a few seasons now.
She ain't easy. She's just, when she wants it, she goes and she gets it.
Well, I would have it if she wanted
that don't mean. No. There you go. Okay, I was going to say, that don't mean she would be, jumping on you.
Rosita and Andrea. Rosita and I think they'd be most likely.
You're kidding me. Rosita, Andrea, and Merle.
A three-way dance. Yeah, and Merle can jump in, too. We can have a nice little four-way, sexual. We'll all uck each other.
Wow, your dinner lineup sucks.
Yeah, you'll have like a French tickler on his arm thing. And
That's a tough question, though, man. There's a lot of really good characters. Mine aren't all sexually inspired, though. It just shows the different workings of JP and I's brain.
You won't have sex with Merle?
Because in my mind, I'm thinking ones that would make for interesting conversation. That would be cool to sit and have a meal with and conversate with. Whereas JP's like, I want the ones I can screw.
Hopefully.
I don't know, man. That's really, really tough. I mean, part of me wants to say like Glenn, Rick, and Jesus, but then there's so many characters. It's so easy to. Her would be cool to have dinner with.
I think so.
Not in a sexual way, but I don't know. That's a really tough question. Let's see. Rick, obviously, I'd love to conversate with Rick. Let's see. Michonne, I'd like to have dinner with Michonne.
That'd be fun.
Rick, Michonne, and who would be my third? Rick, Michonne, and it'd be Jesus or Glenn, maybe. Let's think. Characters past and present. You know what? Let's just go with Rick, Michonne, and Luke. Luke would be fun.
All right, you definitely don't want Shane, because if there's 4 of y'all and only 3 dinner rolls, he's going to, rationalize shooting someone in the head.
Oh, absolutely.
So.
Yeah, Luke, Rick, and Michonne, because Luke is hilarious, and I just love Rick and Michonne. So
there you go.
All right, Cray Till Death says, what Game of Thrones character would survive the longest if they were thrown into the Walking Dead universe? Psh, a lot of them, just because of how much harder it is to fight White Walkers than regular walkers. They would just jump in and be like, oh, you don't have to have dragon glass or Valyrian steel? Just this cheap little stainless steel knife?
Yeah.
This is easy. My first choice would be like a tie, just based on experience with zombies. My first guess would be either Jon Snow or Tormund.
Yeah, I think the Hound would do really well, just because he's a beast.
Oh, yeah, the Hound's a monster, man. He's one of my favorite characters.
I think Arya would do pretty good.
Arya would
She's
be,
very
Arya would be badass. So it comes down to who would survive the longest.
Arya is kind of the original Whisperer, just wearing dead people's faces,
I was going to say, Arya would probably outlast them all, because don't get me wrong, Jon Snow is a righteous man, and he blah, 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 but his righteousness has gotten him killed before. I think Arya would know. I think Arya has more street smarts, if that makes any sense. Like, Arya would know, she could read people a little better and know to agree with this person at the moment to survive, versus Jon Snow, who would take a stand for what he felt was right. And I think you're right. I think that Arya, the Hound, we're having a little battle here and we're narrowing it down. I think it would come between Tormund. I'm ruling out Jon Snow. I don't think that he couldn't survive, but I definitely think in such a backstabbing atmosphere and everything, Jon Snow's righteousness might get him killed. Not being willing to do, I don't know. I mean, I would say he's done. It's so hard. I hate answering Game of Thrones questions. I love it, but I hate it because Game of Thrones fans, man, they're so, like, if I say Jon Snow doesn't have the heart to do like cold, cruel stuff, they'll be like, well, he executed those people that tried to kill him and the little boy, but I don't consider that to be doing something dirty, because he executed people that killed him. You know what I mean? But I feel like Jon Snow's goodness, because Rick is a good guy, but he's done some dirty stuff, He doesn't mind doing dirty things if he has to, but I don't know. I might just be looking way too into it. I've narrowed it down in my mind to Arya, the Hound, and Tormund. Do you have anybody you want to add?
Man, I had something in mind, but now it's eluded me.
Brienne of Tarth probably wouldn't do too bad.
She'd do all right, sure.
Cersei would probably last, just because she could manipulate and.
Man, that's what I was getting ready to say. It veers off a little bit, but I hate that I forget the actress's name. But Cersei, how great would she be cast as a Pamela? Should they bring Pamela into the series?
That would be all Lena Headey,
yeah,
or something
like
to that effect.
Yeah, I know that'd kind of be typecasting with her, but it'd still be.
God, she'd be awesome as Pamela, though. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I in my mind, I've narrowed it down between the Hound, Arya, or Tormund. Who do you think? You got anybody you want to add in there for the final?
No, man,
make it a final four?
I'm definitely thinking Arya.
So we want to say we think Arya would outlast?
That's what I think.
I mean, she's young, got a lot of life ahead of her. She's an amazing hand-to-hand combatant.
Very agile.
She knows how to wear other people's faces and manipulate. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're assuming they can bring any power they have from Game of Thrones over, right?
I would think so.
Because if you strip away their powers and stuff, then you kind of is an irrelevant conversation because then, that's what makes them them. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Arya. And Arya is very adaptable, too. She can adapt to her. As she's grown up, she's been through a lot. And she's been able to adapt and conquer. So, yeah, we'll go with Arya. She's awesome. Let's see. Also from Create Till Death. Let's see. What is the best type of video to leave mail call questions on? Current Events Tuesday. This one right here. Mail call. And if you leave it on other videos, we'll definitely try to find it. But some people will leave them and they don't hashtag it mail call. So then when we're doing mail call, it's really hard to find it. So if you're going to leave it on another video, just make sure to put that hashtag mail call. So as we scroll through, it's easier to see. I'm going to pull up my Periscope. I don't Periscope enough. So if
pull it up.
I'm going to pull up my Periscope. But let's see. Brianne McCann says, holy crap, garfish are freaking scary. Had to Google them and they're just piranhas on steroids. Pretty much, man. And when you get into like the alligator garfish, those things are terrifying. They get like 6-7 feet long.
Oh, they're huge.
They're definitely not anything to mess around with.
Prehistoric jokers.
I'm sure the one that bit me was a little bit smaller, but even still, I've seen it was probably about the length of my arm. All right, so we're going live on Periscope now. Am I not able to flip the camera around? Oh, there we go.
Tap, yeah.
Live on Periscope. Let's see if I can catch any. And we'll give info. But if you ever want to watch these podcasts live, if you follow us on Periscope, either JP or I will be Periscoping. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm going live here. Let's see if I can get any followers while we do this podcast. Let's see. Aha! Now they only see me. Let me flip them around every now and again so they can see JP.
Every now and then.
There he is. Wave at him, JP. Wave at him. Don't wipe your mouth seductive. Wave at him. All right, back to the podcast. I'm sure that's boring.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sure that's boring for those that aren't tuned in. But somebody just joined. Welcome to my Periscope. We're podcasting, and you just happen to drop right in the middle of it. So answering a question from Brianne McCann. Hey, guys, what is one thing in your childhood that you would change if you could? Chew on that one and no jipping out on me, JP. Have a great weekend and hope you guys will consider a Friday podcast for us soon. We definitely have been throwing the idea around, but we want to make sure that we have a good idea. Because we've already gotten, we got mail call, we've got random rambling and current events. So, it would definitely need to be something different and fun, not just another us on there. But, man, I look tired this morning looking at myself on Periscope. But, JP, what's something you would change about your childhood?
That's one of those weird butterfly effect questions, man. I feel
we might not even be here if you change something.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would be brave enough to change something. There would be, the brother Clayton molesting me. No, he never molested me. And I apologize to those who have been molested, and I take offense to that. It's no laughing matter, molestation.
Not at all.
No, of course not.
Huh. But what would you change, though? You got to pick something. She said don't jip out on
her. Going bald. I wouldn't go bald.
How would you change that, though?
I'd find a way. Maybe they say masturbating makes you go bald, so maybe I'd do that less. But I probably wouldn't do that less. So.
You think that's true, though?
No, I think it's a byproduct. I think just having extra testosterone, so you get
because you're so damn manly is what it is.
Yeah, that's all it is, brother.
You're so manly that your head just was like your head was just like combating your hair because every fiber in your being is so manly. It's just like, get the hell off of me.
Pushes it out.
Yeah, just get out of here.
Can't say that for the rest of my body.
Don't say you got some hairy arms.
Yeah, I'm hairy, and
I do too. My arms are a bit hairy, but compared to JP, they're not.
Yeah,
they're no match.
I'll be shearing them down soon during the summer months. I definitely prune it down.
Got to prune it up, prune it down a little bit.
Comfort,
Let's see. What would I change about my childhood without getting too dark?
Yeah, I was gonna say, would you just keep your parents from having any other kids, so you'd be an only child and get showered with gifts?
No, I wouldn't trade my siblings for anything. They've been great.
Showered with gifts.
What would I change about my childhood? That is a good question. I don't know. There's a lot I would change, but
Abby in 7th grade, I would have got that hand job.
I would have probably went off to college because I stayed at a community college because I thought a relationship at the time then was going to last forever. If I could change, I probably would have went off. I had a chance to go to a school for writing, like specifically to do writing, and I probably would do that. But it is one of those things where it's like I hate everything led to here, so I really don't want to change much. But
hey, it's never too late to go back and finish that education. Never too late.
You're correct. You are correct.
It's the older you get, a lot harder it is, but it's never too late.
That's true. That is very true. So yeah, well, no, that's not really childhood though. That's like teenage, early adulthood. Right. I don't know.
It's tough, right?
I don't really know what I would, again, without getting, getting into some deep-seated issues.
Hey, go there, brother.
No, I'm not one to really talk about. I'll talk about when somebody irritates me, but I'm not really one to talk about my feelings. No offense to those that do. If you have the ability to do that, that's awesome. But what would I change? I'm sorry for being so boring here. I'll throw a little music in behind us just to make it.
It's a tough question. It really is.
What would I change about my childhood? Oh man, I mean, I'm trying to think like what's something I look back and I'm like, wish my parents would have. You know what I would change about my childhood? I was nice. I feel like there was a few more people I should have punched. We'll go that route. There was a kid in church that I definitely should have. I withheld a lot of my, because you don't want to fight at church. If it had been on schoolyard, it'd have been a totally different thing. But I might would have went back and punched him. That would have made me feel better.
Dakota, yeah, I remember him too. He was a real a-hole.
We didn't go to the same church, but yeah, sure, Dakota. Yeah. What a douche. But yeah, probably would have punched that kid, which is not the answer to anything. Violence is not good, but I'm just saying, I think I would have felt better.
Sometimes it helped.
I don't know. I'm sorry for the crappy answer, Brianna. I really don't know. That's a tough question. I'll definitely think on that. Heidi. Thinks now. I'm hungry. Tacos are my favorite food. Hey, they're one of mine too. I just ate 90 minutes ago. We have Old Paso taco kits in Finland.
Finland? Well,
in Finland, exciting. Yeah. From Phyllis, Justin, and JP, would you ever spend the night alone in the death row section of an abandoned, haunted prison? Thank you guys for answering my questions. I enjoy your podcast. I appreciate both of you. Thank you, Phyllis. We very much appreciate you. Absolutely. Absolutely, like without a second thought.
I feel like it'd be really dark and dank, and I don't think I'd breathe very well. So I would visit.
I mean, I would bring lanterns and stuff. You'd be all right.
As far as spending the night, I don't know about that now.
Well, you don't believe in ghosts, so
well, that's true. But like I said, I just feel like there'd be a lot of humidity, a lot of mold.
It could be bad for you, Brett. Definitely would probably be some mold and some water damage there, but
I don't think I'd
think
breathe
for one night
well.
you'd be all right.
I don't know.
But yeah, I would do that. You know what we should start doing? We should start well, no, people can't watch two at one time. Damn, I was gonna say if you could watch two Periscopes, it'd be dope. Just take your phone, set it up, and face you. Have this one facing me, and then they can watch both of us.
Right.
But it can't see both of us. Now it's been on me for a little while. Let's flip it around to JP for a few minutes. All right, there he is. But yeah, I would definitely do that. Is that your O face?
No, I don't do that.
You don't orgasm?
I'm just a little thirsty.
Oh, okay. Well, quench that thirst. But yeah, I would stay there, and I would love to film it. I actually really want to start checking out haunted places, but one, I don't really, supposedly haunted places, but one, I don't think there's that many around here, and two, it's shockingly hard to find people that want to go with you.
Yeah, and you have to worry about trespassing charges and all that kind of stuff.
I ain't worried about that most time. I mean, they could bust your ass, but most of the time with that, they just give you a slap on the wrist. I mean, as long as you're not there destroying anything, you're just kind of exploring around, most of the time you'd be all right.
Maybe.
But let's see. Here's a term I don't... We're getting old, man.
Why?
Why do so many people ship Daryl and Connie when it's obvious that Daryl should be with Aaron? Because I don't think we don't know Daryl's sexuality. I mean, if Daryl was gay, then I would totally be like, yeah, him and Aaron would be a good couple. But I don't think, I don't know. I guess it's just assuming. Why do we assume that Daryl isn't straight? Is I guess where they're going with that, and I don't know because the show is pretty obvious with connections it tries to make, and it certainly seems like they're trying to make a connection between Daryl and Connie. You know what I'm saying?
Well, maybe he will end up with Aaron. Maybe it'll be a polyamorous relationship.
And if he does, I like Aaron a lot. So, I mean, yeah, if Daryl comes out as gay and he's with Aaron, that's freaking awesome.
Could you see being in a poly relationship?
No.
You and multiple partners?
No.
Yeah, it could be two girls. It wouldn't have to be another guy.
No, I'm just saying, no, I don't think that would work. People get jealous, feelings get hurt. It never works out.
Not if you're a Negan type to where just like they all worship you.
They weren't happy. They were miserable.
Yeah, but
and
Negan was happy.
They were out of fear of having to.
Negan was happy.
Live in terrible conditions. They did it.
Well, it wouldn't be that exactly, but I'm just saying. You have two women or even three women who worship you. They love you. They love each other. I think it'd be all right. I think
maybe. But I think the reason why most people assume there's going to be a Daryl, which we don't have that much Daryl and Aaron interaction. I mean, we don't have like episodes of just them, right? I mean,
not that I can.
They haven't put a lot of focus on Daryl and Aaron. I think if maybe Daryl and Aaron had a few episodes where it was just the two of them, then people might start saying Daryl and Aaron. But right now, Daryl has been, it's been focused on with him and Connie a lot. So people just assume that maybe they're moving that direction. Let's see. Oh, we had some comments there.
What kind of comments? On the positive?
Yeah, just talking about what he's talking about.
Darren?
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. Like I said, I guess the reason why we just assume it's a Daryl and Connie and not Daryl and Aaron is, again, just because, number one, we don't know Daryl's sexuality. Number two, the fact that there's not been... If they have more focus on Daryl and Aaron, then, hey, we'll totally support that. Ryan Owen says, mail call, let's say you were going to be killed tomorrow and you had to decide between Glens Death and... Oh, that's kind of dark. All right, so you're going to be killed tomorrow.
Okay.
You have to pick... Glens Death, head bashed in front of your wife and friends, or Tywin Lannister's death, killed shitting on the toilet with a crossbolt left found in the morning. Which would you choose? That's a good question.
I'm
going to pick the arrow.
I know, given the Glenn situation, he said bashed to death in front of your wife and friends. That implies that I would have had to have got married, which would be worse than having my head bashed in the first place. So no Glenn death. I will take the crapper death with the crossbow.
I'm going to take Tywin's too. I mean, it sucks to be found on the crapper, but I would still rather people's last image be of me slouched over on the toilet than, having to watch me. It's one of those things where you have to think about other people more than yourself. I mean, I just think watching somebody, people find relatives dead all the time, and it's hard to deal with, but they move past it, whereas to watch something traumatic like that could really leave a damage, it could mess up the people you leave behind. So I'm going to go with Tywin's death too. Jonas Balili says, I said his name right. Awesome. Very impressive as people butcher my name since I can remember. Question. I perform work in Yosemite as a wedding photographer, but thinking about going to hike and camp in the wilderness with my team before a gig. What would you suggest we need to do or items we need to have in order to survive or stay entertained? I've done this before, but it's been 10 years, so I feel like I'm out of touch. I think I responded to your thing there, but Jonas, when are you planning on going? Like, how long do we have to do this? Because, that would be, I would definitely are more than happy to tell you what works for us, but, I just need to know, like, how big of a time crunch do we have on this? Do I need to get you a list together? Let us know, because we're more than happy to give you some stuff. I'll give you some quick ones now, but we'll maybe make a video just for you. But, obviously, you need, if you're going to camp, you need a sleeping bag, you need a bag, you need a tent or some kind of shelter. I'm really starting to get into hammock camping, but I wouldn't advise doing that your first time in a long time, just because you take time to study up on what exactly you need to do, because it's not quite as simple as popping up a tent. Food, always pack food, and a good rule of thumb is always pack a day's extra worth of food. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to stay for one night, pack what you would pack for staying 2 nights. If you're going 2 nights, pack 3 nights worth of food type deal. Water, super important. Something you should go out and get that I have is get you a little water filtration system. You can get the Sawyer Mini Squeeze or the bigger Sawyer Mini Filter. They're at Walmart, and they're like $20 or $30, and they will last probably longer than you will. They will filter up to like 100,000 gallons or something. More than you're going to drink out on the trail, I promise. And definitely worth it because you don't want to be drinking any nasty bacteria, E. coli, anything like that. Like, so you need a water filter. Then you also are going to need something to cook in. So if you, I don't really cook on the fire much, but you can. But you definitely need to get you like a little stainless steel cup or something that you can boil water in, and ramen noodles or something. So you need those things. Cook. And it's more to it, but I mean, you definitely want to take like a sleeping pad because sleeping on the ground sucks and the ground gets colder, so it transfers it cold into you. It's just a lot of little things that I have a list. I have a checklist that I go through every time. I got like in a thing, so I'll get that and we'll share that with you in its entirety because you definitely still need a few more things, but those are some of the basics. I always carry a knife with me. I mean, half the time I won't use it, but I feel like you need to have a knife on you.
Oh yeah. Tomahawk too.
I carry a portable saw a lot of times, even though most of the time you can find more than enough dead wood on the ground to build a fire and last you all night. But, there are times where there might not be that much or there's a lot of wet stuff or nothing you can find is really bigger than a little stick. So then you take yourself like a little portable saw and you can cut down like a little small tree and then you can cut it into sections and then you can either baton it with your knife that you already have, or you can bring a hatchet and do that, but a hatchet's just going to add more weight, so it's kind of on preference.
I hate trying to burn real green wood, though,
Oh, yeah, it can be a pain in the ass.
But sometimes you have to.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
But, so we'll talk a little bit more about that. But, let us know when you're going, and we can definitely go a little bit more into that. It's a passion of mine, so I definitely am not against talking about it. JP has been on my Periscope for a hot minute, so let's flip it back around. There I am. Kate Domingo says, what movie/TV prop or piece of memorabilia would you like to own? What would your occupation have been in the Wild West? JP?
In the Wild West?
Well, first, let's go with the memorabilia. As much sci-fi as you're into, I'm sure you can think of a few things that you would love to have from set. One thing, though.
Oh, from set. Oh, boy, that's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. I would want... Patrick Stewart's like his blouse.
I want Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet.
That'd be cool.
Like if they actually, because I know a lot of it was CGI, but like a real gauntlet with the jewels and everything. Oh, I want that. That's the prop that I would really want. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Maybe a bar of soap from the set of Fight Club.
There you go.
But no, probably Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet. I think that would be badass to have in the man cave. Okay, now what would your occupation have been in the Wild West?
I would have kind of been like a Littlefinger type character, just a whore master.
I think in the Wild West, I think you would be like pretty much Tombstone. Like I think you would have been like a Doc Holliday,
just a drunken bastard,
just a drunken bastard who.
Probably not as good at shooting, so I probably wouldn't live as long as Doc.
I think in this scenario, you're used to shooting,
right?
We'll say. Okay. So no, and that's a testament. That's a good thing for you, though. I mean, you like to drink and you like to indulge.
I do.
And if it was as commonplace as it was back then, you probably would love to sit at the table and gamble a little bit and talk shit to strangers.
Yeah.
Excuse my language.
If I had his skill set, absolutely.
So I could see you being Doc Holliday.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would have been. I mean, it's a lot of different things. I mean, I would have. Maybe have liked to have been something like some kind of lawman or something.
You could have probably been a really good trapper,
Yeah, trapping. I don't know.
Coming out of the wilderness after weeks with all these furs and skins.
I'd probably, though, even though it'd probably get me killed really early on, I probably would have liked to have been some kind of lawman.
Yeah, it definitely was a risky occupation. Well, it still is, but especially back then.
And it was a little bit different then, because now there's some things that I just would feel hypocritical for arresting people for. Yeah. But, back then, being a lawman, or maybe an outlaw, man, like I try to be clean cut, but I'm not as sweet and innocent as I sometimes might seem. So I don't know, man. I'm going to go with JP's right now, probably some kind of trapper.
Right.
At the moment, just because I love being in the woods and I don't love killing animals, but I mean, I definitely hunt quite often, but I eat everything I hunt. But if you're trapping, I mean, at least you're making clothes with that and you're trading it and making a living. So yeah, I probably do trapping. That's I wouldn't have thought about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a good occupation.
Trapping or a lawman,
right.
Or like bounty hunter or something.
Do a little bit of both.
Yeah. Yeah, be trapping humans.
Yeah, there you go. Skinning.
Let's see. Jeep. I like you guys a lot, too. Thanks for the years of laughs. One of my earliest childhood memories, and it's just kind of vaguely, is when I was about 3 or 4, my oldest brother was supposed to be watching me, but I guess he didn't feel like it, so he put a kite in the air, and I tied it to my wrist, and he put me out in the field, hoping it would entertain me. Well, it did. He went out to get me about an hour or so later, and I was gone. The kite had led me about 2 miles away.
Jeez.
Needless to say, he caught hell about that after. I imagine, as someone who doesn't even have a daughter yet, but is going to have one, I imagine I'd be ready to kill somebody.
Yeah, I would think so.
What's the strangest or stupidest thing that ever happened to you as a kid, JP? The strangest or stupidest?
Oh, man.
I vote go strangest, but stupidest is funny.
These are tough, man. People want us to think way back. I can't think that far back. Probably when Lucian Dern fell in that hole, my buddy Lucian, there's a great big old chasm that opened up in the playground. I'm talking just like a hole that burst itself in the earth, and he got swallowed
like a sinkhole?
Yeah.
How deep was it?
It was deep, man. It was taller than him. What
did he just like run through it?
No, he was trying to everybody was freaked out and afraid, and he was doing like a dip down into it, but just couldn't pull himself out.
Wow.
And got sucked down, and the adults had to pull him out.
Well, that didn't happen to you though. What's the stupidest or strangest thing that happened to you?
Man,
It's you're JP. I'm sure there's plenty there. Is it just that you don't want to share?
Nah, I just like childhood. I could tell you some weird stuff that's happened to me recently, but childhood, man, I don't think about that stuff very often.
All right, what's something strange that's happened to you now? We'll sub that in.
I don't know. Oh, boy. Let me take a pass. I'll come back to it.
We're going to come back to it by the end, so make sure you think on it. Let's see. I think I have nobody watching on Periscope.
Yeah,
We're super famous. Strangest thing that happened to me. I mean, it's lot of stuff.
Right?
Well, no, it's just deciding which one is more conversation worthy. There's a time that my sister and I thought that there was a monster in our woods because we had found this humongous footprint. Like it was huge. And we left a recorder outside, and it really did pick up some really weird sounds. And I don't know if it was like somebody messing with us or what, but it was really weird. That was strange. There was also, oh man, I'll tell you something kind of scary.
All right.
Which, I mean, now as a grown-up, I can say it probably was an adult. But down the road from my house, we were about 15. We weren't old enough to drive. But down the road from my house, along the four-wheeler trail, there was a field that one of my cousin's dads owned. So I guess he technically was my cousin too. But they grew like something in it for deer season, you know. And I don't know the whole story. It's been so long. But I remember this was before hunting season. And yes, I will admit, we stayed up all night watching zombie and horror movies. We watched, that was the night I saw for the first time Day of the Dead.
Oh.
That was the first time I saw that. And then we watched some other zombie movie and The Exorcist. And we hadn't gone to bed yet. And of course, it wasn't hunting season yet. But I was like, you know, I don't know why. I was like, hey, let's get up early. You know, let's go on let's go check out that field, see if there's any deer out there. You know what I mean? Like, let's just go scout it out. This was like maybe October. It might have been September. It wasn't any kind of hunting season, I can tell you that. Or it might have actually been after hunt. I can't remember. It's been so long. But I know that we went out there. And, you know, I mean, I grew up hunting. So, I mean, I totally know if it's hunting season, you don't go places like that during hunting season. You know, you don't want to mess nobody up. You don't want to get shot. But we rode out there. And I remember we got there and it cut the four-wheeler off, and you know we knew that the noise of the four-wheeler would have probably ran anything out. But we stopped and I kind of was looking around, and we heard this voice goes, "Hey," but not like "hey," like irritated. It was like "hey,"
like in pain,
and it sounded like a zombie to us. And I mean, I cut that four-wheeler on, man, and we hauled ass out. And now as an adult, I'm like, that could have been somebody that really needed help.
Yeah,
you know. But I mean, we were stupid kids. We didn't. We'd just been watching George Romero zombie flicks all night. So I mean, in our mind, it sounded like So we were like, nope, and hauled ass back to my house.
Yeah, me and cousin David about got struck by lightning down by the fishing pond. It was clouding up and starting a storm. I said, one more cast for good luck. And just about as that lure hit the water, lightning struck so close to us it knocked us both, on our asses. I mean, we went back a little ways, and
wow.
Then we took off to run and got on the 4-wheeler, and yeah, it was a very close call.
How old were you when that happened?
That's probably early teens.
Really?
Yeah. So yeah, that was something, man. That's the first time he ever heard me cuss. I was just like, yeah, I cussed. But yeah, it was wild.
That's that's a little bit wilder than just hearing somebody. But I don't remember anybody being reported hurt in the area or anything. But yeah, these are some good questions, man. James Gallagher says, if Rick, Maggie, and Jesus didn't leave the show, do you think Ezekiel and Rosita would have been on the Pikes? Didn't we answer that?
I can't remember, but I think so. I think that's definitely true.
Yeah, oh yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, I definitely think that Ezekiel and Rosita would have gotten it, but they need some of those main long-stay characters to be there for a while.
Yeah.
Brian Akeem says, a non-Walking Dead question. What would you guys rather become, werewolves or vampires? Werewolves are furry, larger, and stronger, but can't live forever. And vampires are immortal, but hate sunlight and need blood. Personally, I'd choose werewolf. Huh. What would you choose, JP?
Vampire for me, especially like a sexy, true blood kind of vampire. But I mean, I already hate sunlight for the most part, and I basically might as well be a werewolf now. I'm just not that strong, and I don't have to like eat live chickens or anything. But I'm hairy as a moth. I'd go with a sexy vampire.
Sexy vampire. I'm going to go with the werewolf just so I can go out and do what I want, like during the day.
Yeah, and you only have to deal with it during a full moon,
right?
So it's not like it's an everyday, commitment.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Brian on this one and say that I choose werewolf. I mean,
turning into a werewolf's a lot like just having a crazy blackout. I mean, you don't remember anything. You're violent. I
think when I knew it was going to be a full moon, like I would have myself like a big metal cage somewhere in the woods, away from everything, and I would just know, like, all right, it's full moon tonight. So I would go on and just bring myself some food and some comics and just lock myself in the gate in the cage and just pray I don't get out and hurt anybody.
Yeah, because I mean that's what I know. Certain movies like you can control yourself in werewolf form, but for me, a werewolf, like I said, it's kind of like the Incredible Hulk. You just turn into that creature, and what
just like a mindless killer.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with werewolf on that. But you said you're sticking with vampire.
Sticking with vampire.
A sexy vampire.
Sexy, yeah. I want like a True Blood kind of vampire.
Yeah, I don't blame you. That would be. I could never get into that show.
I liked it. Well, I mean, it was really good for like the first 2 seasons. The 3rd season was all right, but it kind of slowly started falling off in that 3rd season. Because I think maybe somebody we know and love, like directed the first 2 seasons. I can't remember who. It might have been the person from 6 Feet Under.
I am going to look that up real quick.
It might have been.
Keep them entertained for a minute.
I'm just saying, man, True Blood, the first 2 seasons, man, there was intrigue. It was very character-driven stories. You had, like, social commentary. I liked it a lot. I really, really liked it. And there was some gratuitous, sexy, sexiness. Anna Paquin was naked quite a bit. Definitely cranked out quite a few loads watching that. Man, those DVDs.
To who?
Anna Paquin.
Who's that?
Sookie.
Or
Rogue in X-Men. She was also in a movie as a little girl about getting geese to fly home or something. They might have been Fly Away Home, but I can't remember. Yeah, great child actress. Great actress now. She's what's the show on Amazon Prime she's in now? Like it's like a Philip K. Dick adaptation. Something about electronic dreams. I don't know exactly.
Stephen Moyer.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Who is that?
I don't know. Like I said, I feel like it's the same director or showrunner or something as a 6 Feet Under.
Let's see. Stephen Moyer. Let's see what his resume has on it.
But yeah, those first 2 seasons were phenomenal.
Let's see. He did. I know what you're talking about because I've heard, people. I remember hearing that somebody was behind that, and I was kind of shocked because I didn't like it, but I liked some of their other work.
No, man, I really think you should have stuck it out, man.
I don't know. I have to look more into that. If you know, please let us know in the comments section. That'll make it a lot faster and easier. But let me check a few of our latest videos, and then we'll wrap this thing up. Let's see.
Surely we got something from yesterday, right?
I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. Any mail calls? Looking for hashtag mail call. A lot of comments on that one. But none that were mail call. Let's go to yesterday's and see. Again, if you haven't listened to yesterday's Random Ramblings, you really should. It was a pretty good one, if I do.
Okay, I found it. It's Alan Ball. He created 6 Feet Under and True Blood.
Okay.
I'm guessing to the television adaptations. Yep, he's a producer, a Hollywood producer.
Jovi Gal said, you make her cringe and laugh at the same time. And then she was laughing when I was trying to shut you up yesterday, and I said, I can't, there's no off switch.
That's true. Sometimes.
Let's see. No comments, but none that were mail call. Let's check on our, I think this might be the last video. Let's see if there's any mail calls. Brianne McCann recommends you neuter yourself, by the way.
I don't see any point in that. That stuff's got to get out. It can't just be trapped there.
You know, we've had 2 guests this week. We had Julius with us on Tuesday, and we had Matt Crowder with us on yesterday.
It's fun, man. I like having these mystery guests, even though it's the same couple people every time.
Yeah, we're going to do a paranormal podcast. That is going to happen. I promise you. I'm just lining up a few people, but Matt Crowder is going to be our first one. Matt's the guy, again, that was on the podcast yesterday for Random Rambling Wednesdays, and he's told me some of his. And he's got some pretty wild experiences, so we're going to have those. But
yeah, what Dan Ashdown, I think, is on deck for that.
Yeah, Dan, one of our listeners, Dan Ashdown. We might connect with him. Like, it's going to be weird though, because we're in completely different time zones. So I mean, with him, we're going to have to like come over here one night or something. But we're still anxious to make it happen. But yeah, we want to do like a 8 or 10 part series, and each one will feature a different guest, and it's primarily focused on like their paranormal experiences. Mm-hmm. And then I might do one, because though I'm very skeptical on things supernatural and ghosts and such, I've definitely had some things that I can't explain. So, you know, I see what other people think. But I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's podcasting in general. It's pretty much the end of the week.
It's been a good week, man.
Yeah, it's been a good week for podcasting.
We need to do what Joe Rogan does, like have like a basically like a best of the week video where we just
that's a good idea, like a recap.
Yeah, we just pull clips out of all the podcasts.
That is a really good idea. Okay, I like that. Maybe we'll start that next week. Maybe we'll put those out on Fridays.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Be really cool. But so I think that's going to wrap it up for us. If you want to follow us on social media, mine's super easy. Just I'm Justin Lloyd, all lowercase, no apostrophes. Just I'm Justin Lloyd will get you my Instagram, Periscope, and Snapchat. JP there is JPSLIM, all lowercase, will get you his Periscope. Mm-hmm. He Periscoped last night. It was really cool. And you're going to Periscope tonight, you said, right?
Probably so, yeah. For some reason, the video from last night is no longer on there, so I'll probably try out my new Slim Bong again that I got from the real Slim fella. Find him on Periscope, buy his wares. He's a great guy.
So, yeah, that wraps it up. I'm trying to think. If you have any questions, leave them under this video. And remember, because like this week, the questions were a lot less. And if it gets to the point we don't get too many questions, we might just not do mail call. We might just try to answer them in other podcasts instead of taking the time to make a whole podcast. Because when we first started doing it, I mean, we were shocked. We didn't expect to get nearly that many questions, and we got a ton of them.
Yeah.
And now it's just I guess people have started kind of getting tired of it, which is fine.
I was going to say, it probably doesn't help that I can't like think of anything to say with some of these questions.
You're not going to get away with that. What was the one you were supposed to answer?
I thought I did. I came back and answered it. It was about the childhood thing, and I said with the
lightning?
With the lightning.
Okay, yeah, you're right. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for us. We'll catch you on Monday as we cover the second episode of Game of Thrones Season 8.
I'm
Justin.
Oh, and I'm JP.
And we're the Podcasting Dead.